Hello everybody and welcome to round number 4 of the URC Ultimate Racing Championship, as we are heading to the streets of Baku as we did the other day for real life. We'll mirror that obviously with this championship, and yeah, it's a very technical track this week, a total contrast to the one we had in Canada, not Canada, China, should I say. As the walls are very close, especially in that cross section I just saw. Obviously last week, just to recap, Milix Jr. claimed victory ahead of Blizzard, as he failed to win a race this season as he won the opening 2, so it shows that he's got a bit of competition for this championship, and it won't have it all his own way. In the minute, it's Nick Knight on pole with a 39.0 with Orb King a second back for DRL, or I think DHL, yeah. As we're watching Blizzard now as he comes to the line now, and it's a 36.3, so he goes significantly quicker for VSR, and it's taken provisional pole so far on the ultra soft tyres, whereas a lot of the others have gone softs. Blizzard on this occasion, be interesting to see where everyone else come in this field as we walk on board with Milix. He was his basically closest challenger last week, didn't really get a quality lap in, so it'll be interesting to see if he can show the pace he did last time round. From what I know of him, he doesn't like this track, but I don't think there's many people that do. I mean, it's great for action, but when it goes wrong it becomes a bit boring. As Milix now comes across the line, and it's gonna be a pit lane. It's gonna be. As we'll have a look at Nolan, who's coming around the final few corners. It looks like he's starting a lap rather than finishing in, because he's way down, unless he's had a bit of a mistake somewhere. As he comes across the line, does Nolan, and I think he's starting a lap. He is already invalidated it, one of the other, as he goes through 2 and 1. And into turn 2. They're all very 90-degree corners, and can be very difficult sometimes, especially if you miss your braking zone. Then you haven't really got a choice but to go down the escape road, which can lose you a lot of time. And I won't be surprised if we find a few drivers down there at some point, as very then we saw Lambo hitting a few walls as well, so it shows the complexity of this track as Nolan misses his apex there, going into the middle sector, and as you can see, he's a 10.5 up so far on his lap on these ultra soft tyres. I don't know how hard they are actually pushing, but it looks like he's going for it at the minute. Obviously as the session goes on, the track will ramp up as it hits the wall there on the outside. I don't know if that was a bit of let's say spectator desync, or he generally hit the wall there, but he didn't get any damage from it, as it was just a slight glance as he comes through now to the back end of the lap, and so the easier part of the lap, except for that corner there, which you're carrying very high speed and you've just got to clip that curb, and if you do it a little bit too much, then you, as Nolan showed there, he clipped the wall on the outside. But coming round the final few corners now, will he complete his lap? He's using all the ERS he can possibly do, his open DRS as well, as he comes now across the line. He's going to finish the lap, and it's going to be a 36.9, that's half a second off of Blizzard so far, but that's the closest anyone's got so far as well, as he's done 2 laps on them tyres, so they'll be hoping to do something a little bit different, as watching Slimbo demolishing the castle section and attempting to do the Kibitsa, but with damage a bit lower, on a lower setting rather than simulation, he gets away with it. And as you can see, he's hit another wall, coming through the final few corners of the lap, and the final actual corner he drifts to Narnia, so he's struggling on them soft tyres. Obviously soft tyres are going to be slower than the ultras. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, because I think they're just trying to find where the grip is on the track at the minute, trying to learn what the conditions are like, as Slimbo will probably dive into the pits here. So we'll have a look at a few other drivers, as Leon's found himself highest of the non-ultra soft runners, as he's got a glitch. I think he's... What is he doing? Has he run out of fuel? Oh, he's readying himself for a lap, I think. But he's definitely got the rev glitch as he comes around now to start his lap on soft tyres. And he's really going for it. It looks like he's fairly on the limit, but obviously the last few corners can be very deceiving as he comes across the line now to start his lap. We'll go on board with him. Going into turn 1, you want to brake around the 100 metre board, get down into third gear, clip the curb on the inside, run it wide, and it's pretty nails it pretty much. As he goes to turn 2, loses the apex, which means you're drifting wide all the time and losing time all the time at the same time. How many times do I have to say time? I don't know. But now into turn 3, another 90-degree corner, this time third gear. Try and drift it a little bit wide without losing the back end. The onboard is really annoying me, so we'll go outboard into turn 4 and 5. And you want to be going as wide as you can, clip the inside curb, and then again, run the curb again. As it now heads towards the castle section. As it's a really slow section, and sometimes you can go into it a little bit too quick and it ends in tears. And we'll watch Leon as he does it really well actually. He clips the inside curb, which didn't force him wide, just put it through quite nicely, threading the eye of the needle. I think the phrase is, as he comes through now to the final bit of the lap. As he doesn't hit the wall this time, like many others have, as CRG Francis has moved up to P4, as I told him he could run as a privateer, so he's not actually racing for anybody this week. There's Leon now for the ILRT team, comes across the line, or the ILR team I suppose I could say that, as he comes across the line now on them soft tyres, and it's going to be a 38.4, which is a 4/10 improvement, but still quite a way off, 2 seconds obviously on the hardest tyre going. There's still a lot more in the lap for him, and we'll have a look at the other guys. Say Lambo for example is coming to the back end of this lap, so he goes through that very difficult one, really cautiously actually. He doesn't run the inside curb like many have, like Leon did for example, and just going for the tidy approach rather than the aggressive approach for the end of this lap. And just trying to get his first lap on the board. There's a field fairly spread out so far, 3.7 seconds covering the field, but obviously everyone on different tyres as Lambo actually pits. So that's him coming in for probably an ultra soft run, but a lot of them are going supers as well. Let's say like Blunt for example, Slimbo, Millix. It's interesting to see that Millix hasn't actually done a lap like last week. Maybe it's just sandbagging, which we yet to see. As yeah, so far it's Blizzard on pole, and it looks like he's going to take, well, let's see, yet another pole. I think he's got pole in every race so far, pretty much. As Marquez actually improves there. He's kind of gone under the radar as he's gone 3/10 behind Blizzard. Is VSR teammate in a way, but he's driving the Mercedes, which I can't remember if it's VSR red or black. I think it's black. As Blizzard's on a one-man team at the minute. Well, he was. I forgot about Lambo. I was on board with Slimbo, but he's starting lap. There's quite a few people not really setting laps, they're kind of starting laps. Slimbo's one of them. Millix is another, who's actually completed a lap, but it's 11 seconds off, so maybe he made a mistake middle way through. But here goes Francis. He stays well out of the way, and he's been involved in quite a few instances, Francis, over recent weeks, so he'll be hoping just for a clean one this time round, as I think Slimbo there went to P5, but we'll stay with the last race winner, with Millix, see if he can get anywhere near the time of Blizzard on this occasion, as Nolan has retired from the session, and he's decided that P3 is about all he can do. But there's another 4 minutes left, so anything can still happen as we go through the middle part of the lap, as I don't expect the super soft runners to be able to really compete with the ultra soft runners unless it's a pretty special lap. Let's put it that way, as the ultra soft runners will be compromised in the race though with tyre wear, I'm presuming, but I think Blizzard said that he could do a one stop, but don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure I said that pre-race though. As we look at Milix, he's 9.8 off. So is he going to improve? It's looking close to P4 if he completes this lap. We'll have to wait and see. It's pretty much everybody's on the supers from Slimbo downwards. So there's only 4 people gone for the ultra softs, and Milix goes P6. So he's about 7/10 off Francis, and 10th down on Slimbo. Is doing a pretty decent job, to be fair, but and he's run out of fuel. So I don't see him improving on that time, unfortunately. I think that's his qualifying over, as it'll take a lot more time to get in the pits and get out again. There's Nick Nack, I think it was, that improved there, as I was on board with Blunt, but he's retired from the session. Nick Nack gone to P7, I'm pretty sure. There's a Leon's an out lap, so he couldn't have done a lap. Vanquish is yet to show his hand. It's quite interesting how spread out the field is. Obviously I know the top 4 have done ultra soft runs and the rest are on supers, but it's still quite spread out. And at the minute it's VSR 1, 2 and 3, and 13 as well, but Lambo's yet to do anything of note lap time wise anyway. So I think we'll stay on board with Lambo, see if he can make it 1, 2, 3 and 4 on his supers. I don't quite know if he's invalidated it there, because he cut a lot of the corner, but he's very committed in the castle section this time. A lot more committed than he was earlier on in the session, so it's now or never really for him, as he's getting a double slipstream from Leon. He doesn't really want Leon there, it's a bit of a distraction for him, and he's got his teammate in Blizzard just ahead, but yeah, that could give him a nice slipstream to the line, which could make all the difference like in real life, as they now come through the final few corners, sweeping left and then right, and they'll be getting DRS and slipstream off of his teammate VSR Blizzard, who's currently on pole. And we'll see what Lambo can do now as he comes now to cross the line. And what time will it be? It'll be a 37.6, which is enough for P5, and that's a decent effort from Lambo for what he's done this season, to be basically best of the rest, with Francis on the ultras obviously just a couple of attempts ahead. Milix is out of the session, Lambo will be out. Vanquish has managed to improve. Fair enough. As Vanquish managed to improve to P6 so far, he's about half a second off Francis. Can he be able to get that? It'll be extremely difficult on them set of tyres, but I didn't think there'd be that much difference in them, to be honest. Obviously the ultras are definitely quicker, so that goes without saying, but supers are hardly a slow tyre. So Francis might be a good aim for Vanquish as he comes through now. Final corners now. He's kind of got a rhythm with the track, because early on he was hitting every wall going, and now he seems to be hitting every apex going. He's improving by 4/10, which shows that he could probably pip Lambo if he gets the end of the lap right and keeps it nice and tidy on the straight. Now obviously he won't get that slipstream in his run out of ERS, and that's just unfortunate. But he's going to come across the line now. What time is it going to be? That ERS has killed him, I think. Killed his chance of getting Lambo, especially with his slipstream that he had. But it's P6 and P7 for the LR boys, the Livid Racing team, which is a solid effort from them. And puts them in a good position. And as I say, that Blizzard extends his advantage to 8/10. And it means nothing in the overall context of it, unless Marquez improves dramatically. But it's going to be all about that turn 1 again, no matter what the quali gap is. I mean, Old King's 4.3 down. I'm presuming that's not his best lap he's ever done. But we'll go on board with Marquez now. So can he? Well, that's your answer. He can't. Nobody could get anywhere near him. Blizzard again. But in a race, it's a different question. If he can get into some battles, then it could make things interesting. As we saw in the last race, I mean, it got very, very interesting. As it was very, very close in the midfield. But it's a totally different qualifying this time, and actually Francis has got a 5-place grid penalty. So that'll drop him down to P9, which will be fairly interesting, and fairly unlucky for Leon, actually. If he'd been one position slower, then starting a high position with free choice. No, I'm wrong. Doesn't matter. But anyway, Blizzard's on pole from his VSR teammate, I suppose. Marquez, Nolan in P3. As I've seen in the chat, he's done no practice, so that would explain why he's a bit off. As I've heard quite good things from him, to be honest. But with no practice, I know what it's like myself. It's not going into races that ain't great. But it makes for an interesting race, especially in the midfield. Should be interesting. I can't call who will probably be bottom of that podium. It's a long race here in Baku, and it's a tight and twisted circuit, so anything can happen. So we've got some support from VSR in the chat. Hello, Callum. And yeah, hopefully we can have a fantastic race, and like in China, where it was just non-stop the whole way through. But it would take quite a lot to top that. A few safety cars won't go amiss though. But yeah, if I had to pick a winner, obviously it would be Blizzard again. I don't see anyone beating him, but I've been proved wrong before, and I'll probably be proved wrong again. But he's the man in the moment at this point. As I'll run down the grid of formation lap. VSL Blizzard on pole by 0.8 of a second. A domination from him, really. Claimed 2 of the first 3 races, only missing out last time out in China, with Marquez in second, who's been involved in a fair few incidents, and I've got to say quite a controversial driver, if I have to say so far. And hopefully he can keep out of trouble and give us a great race. Nolan, P3, obviously started last week in China, had good pace to begin with, but kind of dropped off in the race, but ended up finishing pretty strongly. Can't remember off the top of my head where he finished, but it was somewhere around the top 5. With Lambo in P4. Lambo's had a pretty lacklustre season so far. From what I hear from other leagues, he's pretty rapid on his day, but obviously turning the assists off and things like that recently has been difficult for him. But hopefully he can improve what he's got, and the sky's actually quite dark, so maybe a bit of rain might be incoming as well, as Blizzard's been disqualified from the formation lap. We've got Vanquish, obviously joined us last week. Looked fairly strong for the midfield battles anyway. With people like Nick Knack, was racing with him pretty much all race. And talking about him, Nick Knack got a podium in Australia. Hasn't really done a lot since, so he'll be hoping for a better race. Qualifying P6 this time isn't a horrendous result for him, especially with VSR, the 4 VSR boys, 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically second out of the next lot. There's LR Slimbo for the Livid Racing team, starts P7. There's actually Nick Knight picked the Slimbo, I didn't actually notice that, as it seems. As Milix is P8 last time race win. He'd be disappointed about qualifying, but I'm not going to write him off at this point. Francis unlucky to get his grid penalty. As far as I know, I don't know obviously what went off, but he was qualified P4, so he's got pace. It's just can he work his way through the field. But he was the slowest of the ultra runners. Leon had a great podium. I think it was P2 in Bahrain, and that was quite an emotional race for him. And he'll be hoping to replicate that, but from P10 it's going to be fairly difficult with Blunt behind. Little Paul and Orb King rounding out the back of the grid as we go now to 5 red lights. They've gone out, the cars aren't moving, but are we going? We are now, as we start now, as it looks like Blizzard's got a fairly decent start. Marquez looks down the inside, his teammate of Nolan has hit him into turn 1, and Lambo sits in behind for VSR there, so VSR still keep their position, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Nick Knight's lost a couple of places to Francis and Slimbo. So good fast start from the Livid Racing boys, as he's looking at Lambo now, and he's a bit too far back on this occasion. As we're looking further back, Millix has worked his way up into P8, as Francis has probably made the best start of anybody here from P9 to 7, and he's going to probably start trying to look at the LR boys pretty quickly and get them out of the way, because he's on them old softs. Looking at the sky, and I can say that rain is probably imminent at this point. Sorry about the pronunciation. Oh, bollocks. No! Not again. I can't believe this. What a dickhead. Right, I have some good news, I can rejoin. Which is always good. Sorry about that, guys. I've got good internet, I just don't know why it doesn't want to work. Maybe hosting, streaming and watching the chat all at the same time might not be a good idea. But, yeah. We will return. Hopefully not to disconnect again. That was horrible, but we do return to Blizzard still being in the lead and extending his advantage. Millix has already picked up a penalty as he's behind, Marcus is still behind Blizzard. Lambo has picked up a place, actually, he's in P3 as Nolan's actually last. And he's pit, I think. We'll get the telemetry out. He has pit, he's the earliest of the Ultoft pit. I think he had damage from lap 1, I'm presuming, so that's him in last. Orb King and Little Paul have picked up a place on Leon, who's slipped back. He won't be particularly pleased about his start to this race. But looking further forward is any battles. We've got Francis and Millix going toe to toe as we're getting the worst camera angles all the time. Francis got the inside line, Millix round the outside, sticks his nose, oh my lord, he's in the wall there surely, as they get very feisty, the Williams and the Sauber drivers. And Slimbo's actually looking at his teammate of Vanquish, as Leon is the first casualty of this race, as they get very close. As, oh my god, Millix and there's no love lost between them two, as Millix really did what Francis did to him there, as the two LR boys are battling for P4 now, and it's kind of dropped off from Lambo at this point. There's, oh, Francis, oh dear, and that's Francis leaving the session. So that's Francis gone, Leon gone, in all one lap. Nolan's still going. As we're going to keep an eye on these lot, as Orb King is looking at Blunt and Nick Knight for P7. But then we've got a battle for P4 between the two LR boys and Millix for the P4 at the minute. It looks like the front three are kind of getting away at this point, and it's quite impressive how quick Lambo is compared to Marquez at this point. Obviously Marquez's tyres will be going off quicker, but He's showing some good pace. Some pace he hasn't really shown so far. As we're looking at the two LR boys, is any battles further back? It looks like these three have started to spread out a bit, and of course the battle between the two Livid Racing drivers is into turn one. They're a little bit too far back from each other, and not really making a move. They kind of slipstream each other at this point. The Force India drivers and the Sauber. There's oh, Marquez has made a mistake, and it's allowed Lambo to make it Blizzard Lambo 1-2, and he's shown some really good paces, Lambo, at this point. But obviously the rain looks like it might be coming at some point, possibly. I mean, I could be wrong, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see with that one. But Marquez has fallen in the clutches of the LR boys pretty quickly. He's been dropped by Lambo. Oh, Milik nearly hit both walls there. That was so close to pretty much a race-ending crash. There's Blunt is still on the back of Nick Knight. Orb King the same. Little Paul the same. And that's for the last points pretty much. Obviously with Nolan pitting at this point, he's caught up quite a lot to the back end of this top 10. Because I think Orb King was scraping the wall there. Oh, and Blunt has lost half front wing. Or has he? Oh, he has. He definitely has. So that's why he's struggling a bit. Don't know why Nick Knight's struggling to keep up with these three. Maybe just doesn't have the pace. As Blunt has actually made the move on Nick Knight for P7 in this Grand Prix. As Milik is going to be looking at the back of Vanquish and Thingy Slimbo still. Slimbo will be fairly happy as he wasn't very optimistic about his pace beforehand. And yeah, as you say, Slimbo to run the VSR party. I mean, these three are catching Marquez very, very quickly indeed. And I know Marquez is a very aggressive drive, and it could end in tears this, but we'll have to wait and see, especially a track like this. It depends if he's just going to be on the straight or not, but he's catching him so quickly, it's just going to bunch everybody up. As this three-way fight has now become a four-way fight, and Marquez is going nowhere quickly, as he's slipping all over the place, and it's allowing Slimbo every opportunity to catch. Going into this final corner now. Will Slimbo be able to get a good enough exit? Will he hit the back of Marquez? No, it looks like he's just got enough room there. And now it's all about just staying in that slipstream, not understeering to Narnia. And he's played this pretty well. As Slimbo is going to get DRS as a side by side, and Vanquish has got a look at Vanquish. He's got an amazing run. They're both going to get Marquez. Marquez actually comes into the pits, so that answers that question of is his tyres gone? They certainly have. And this puts Lambo in a pretty decent position. Is Blizzard off to pit fairly soon? I'm presuming the end of this lap. As he's gone now on to the soft tyres, and he's gone behind Nolan, who pit basically on the first lap. And he's about 4 seconds, obviously. Oh! Little Paul and all that was supporting DRL there, but they have came together and killed each other. And I'm pretty sure that wasn't intended by Little Paul and Old King, but that's not great. As a team boss, I'll be ripping my hair out, but that is not that's not what you want. Two teammates coming together like that is a team boss's nightmare, and there'll be definitely some words in debrief, it's fair to say, after this one. As it's interesting to see Milik has actually passed Slimbo. Slimbo might have made a mistake somewhere, because Milik's is now P4, Vanquish P3, and Vanquish is showing his ever impressive pace at this point. But how well will Milik defend Slimbo this time round? Obviously Slimbo's basically gone from podium to nowhere, as Orb King is retired, and frankly I'm not surprised. He had no front wing. As we are now down to 10 runners after 6 laps. So we've got another 20 to go. As Slimbo is eyeing up Millix now for P4. Will Millix be able to defend? We'll switch the view, and it looks like Slimbo has just sailed back past as Millix will try to do the switchback, and it looks like he's successfully doing it. Down the inside, oh, very close. I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of contact there, but I think he's gone for the DRS instead. And I'm very surprised he's gone to the outside there. They were weaving all over the track. I don't think either of them knew where each other was going. There's a little bit of contact again, but they both get away with it, and Millix retains his P4, with Vanquish actually pulling away by 2 seconds because of these two battling. And these two aren't really helping each other, but Slimbo's probably helping his teammate out more than anything. As Nick Knight and Nolan are getting quite close, with Blunt as well. So for P6, things are going to start heating up, as Nolan's shown some decent pace since then. He's set fast laps since then, as well as Blizzard's yet to pit, but he's losing time a lot. Oh, and there goes Blunt. And Nolan, oh, that was a bit silly, wasn't it? As Nolan now picks up another position for P7, as he looks at the back of Nick Knight now for P6, as he's got him all alone now. Instead of 2 SLR cars, he's got 1. And that'll make things a little bit easier. And Vanquish is pulled out of the DRS as well of Millix, which is really important, as Blizzard pits. And it'll be interesting to see where he comes out. Will he be coming out behind Marquez? I doubt it, but or Nolan, for example. Nolan pit really early to try and do an undercut, but can he get to the end of the race at the same time? As Blizzard is coming out of the pit lane, Nolan into turn 1, looking at Nick Knight, he gets Nick Knight, and oh, he's timed that to perfection as Nolan, as Blizzard's slipped back behind Nick Knight and himself, and Nolan's got the lead of this race, but for how long? Obviously, can them tyres go to the end? I'm pretty unsure, especially pitting on lap 1, that's going to be difficult. But he's put himself in a decent position. It's just about trying to keep the position. Marquez is 8 seconds behind, so I'm presuming this little bit of a tussle between Millix and Vanquish will be somewhere in there. And Slimbo. We've given some decent entertainment so far in this race, probably the only, but with Blizzard having something else to think about rather than winning this race. He's got one of the VSR Nolan ahead of him. I'm slurring my words now. Oh, Marquez is out. How's that happened? We'll stay on board with Blunt and we'll see. Has he been in the castle section? Oh, has he hit that inside wall and took his wheel off? But anyway, we'll talk about him later, as Blizzard now looks to make his move on Nick Knight, and he's gone down inside where Nick Knight's pitting, so we'll forget about that one, as Millix is looking at Slimbo again, who's just DRS past him. But it looks like Slimbo's got this move done, and the undercut might be a good thing, because look what Nolan's done for to Blizzard here, and these three might have to consider that as a viable option. And especially Lambo. Let's have a look at the gap between the leaders. So Blizzard's 15 seconds off, so he's probably going to get the lead back. He's pretty nailed on. He's going to get the lead back from Lambo. He's losing time all the time to them from Nolan and Blizzard as well. So penalties might play a part. So we'll have a look at Lambo. Lambo's 1 warning away. Nolan has a penalty. Blizzard hasn't even got a warning. How consistent is he? So that might play its part into who wins this race. But Yeah, it's fair to say that Blizzard's probably got this one. At this point, he's just sticking behind Nolan. He doesn't really need to overtake him because of the penalty anyway. Just needs to keep it consistent for the remaining 17 laps of this race. As Millix comes into the pits to make his stop, and Nolan blasts past, and Blizzard goes past, so that's them already past Millix. And it's actually interesting to see that Nolan is actually catching Slimbo and Vanquish as well. Obviously, they're on all the tyres, don't get me wrong, but he's catching them fairly significantly. To say where he was, he's doing not too bad. Hello, not fuel. Welcome to the PS4 stream of the URC. As Lambo is provisionally leading this race, but Nolan is the current leader, really, once everybody pits. And he's got his teammate, well, the VSR compatriot, that's the word, Blizzard behind. And he'll be hoping to be able to make that move. Obviously, Nolan's got that penalty, that 3-second penalty that can affect this race. How am I doing? I'm doing absolutely perfectly, I suppose. I'm enjoying the race, just chilling, basically, and yeah, hopefully we can have some drama for this for you guys. That's the aim. As Nolan runs wide there into the final corner, as Blizzard now onto the start-finish straight, getting a far superior run, and this isn't even a contest. Oh, that was quite naughty there. Oh, I see what Nolan's trying to do here. He's got DRS through doing that. He basically broke to get the DRS, but is it going to work? He's definitely going to have it in the next turn. As oh god, Nolan is doing a Tony Hawk there into turn 1, and that's not really the fastest way around. But they both caught up to, who is that ahead? It's Slimbo actually. They both caught up to Slimbo as Vanquish actually has pitted, and he's come out ahead of Millix. I don't know how much. We've recently gone to F5. Yeah, I can't wait for F1 2019 either. Hopefully they deliver us a good online so we can enjoy races. Obviously, the URC League will continue on to 2019, like it'll follow the actual season. So let's say that Baku is this weekend, so on Tuesdays we'll be racing Baku, and in 2 weeks we'll be racing I can't remember, Spain. If I'm correct here, as we've had some fairly good races so far, but here comes a battle for the lead, and as I thought Nolan was out of it. Oh, I think he hit the wall there, as it was very close, as he got lots and lots of speed, but Blizzard's going to get Slimbo, and Slimbo's pitted, but that leaves us a battle for the lead, and it looks like Blizzard has still got it somehow from Nolan, and these two are really going at it. I mean, Nolan's on 6 laps older tyres, and fairly impressive stuff from him to just stay there with Blizzard at this point, as we're not even halfway through this race, as going into turn number 3, it's not really possible on this lap, and there's no more traffic now. So can Blizzard just pull the gap like he seemed to do in Australia and Bahrain? That's where he's strongest, when he's on his own, just needing consistent lap times to win races. That's where he just deflates everybody, because they just can't keep up. Lambo, after his early pace, is quite a way back, 7.5 seconds now. It really depends if he really can pick up the pace. Slimbo and Vanquish have both been able to overtake Millix, but that one, it probably isn't over yet, depending if Millix has the sort of pace he had in China. that all depends, obviously he's on 2 lap older tyres, so that'll affect him. Yeah, but this race is pretty much fizzling out except for the lead battle at the minute between arguably 2 of the best drivers on PS4 pretty much, in Blizzard and Nolan, as they come through the last sector again. Will Nolan be able to get the full use of his ERS and DRS, as Blizzard's trying to defend with his as well? Going into turn 1, will Nolan go for it? No, but Blizzard hardly hits the apex himself, so into turn 2 now he'll be vulnerable. If Nolan can get the exit, he can't. It's just them older tyres. There's 6 laps older tyres. He's struggling to get the power down, but he's definitely the faster driver on these tyres for sure. This Blizzard there scrapes the wall on the outside. He gets away with it in the Toro Rosso. Obviously rear punches aren't really a thing. Unless you wire his tyres down, you're not going to hit a wall and get a puncture really. But interesting enough, Milix has actually caught up to Slimbo by about a second or so, I'm pretty sure, from them gaps. But Vanquish is definitely pulling away from Slimbo. So Slimbo's pace has started to slow down as Nolan picked up another penalty. As Blizzard's only just picked up his first warning. Nolan's got 2 penalties. I think Blizzard, if he keeps it nice and tidy, he's got this one. Obviously Blizzard doesn't know Nolan's got penalties unless he's talking to him. So, which wouldn't surprise me, but you wouldn't want to be giving a rival a psychological advantage in this point. But I'm sure the VSR guys will be just wanting to maximise what they are, and that's what they're doing at the minute with a 1, 2 and 3 with Blizzard, Nolan and Lambo. And going into turn 1 again, he looks a little bit closer, does Nolan. Will he go for it? He's managed to get side by side, but he backs out. And that could be quite costly, because it kind of needs to get back past him. And I think he's hoping for a mistake into turn 2 from Blizzard, so he can just get away somehow. But he's not quite managing it so far. And Blizzard saved a lot of ERS, so to say, and he's not been able to counter as Nolan because he's kind of running out. But further back, Milix is definitely catching Slimbo at this point. It's been a long day for me. And Blunt is catching Nick Nike as well. Oh, Nolan's gone. I was trying to be silent there just to, let it go a little bit, but Nolan has spun, and I think he's lost half. Has he got away with it? He was about a second off Blizzard there, but he lost the car, and VSR, this is not exactly what they wanted. He'll have to pit, surely. Surely he's not going to get to the end now, and if he does, he comes straight into the pits. So them tyres are really gone off. Oh god, that just looks bad for me. I crap myself a little bit, but that makes a 1-2 for VSR, but it would have been 1-2-3 as Vanquish is now on the bottom step of that podium. Out of nowhere, really. And Slimbo has actually slipped down Milix, so will Milix be able to catch up to Vanquish? 4.5 seconds, and he's got 11 laps to do it for the bottom step of that podium to really ruin the mood at VSR. I mean, 1-2 is still an amazing result, let's face it, but they could have had the whole lot. They could have had probably 1-4 if Marquez didn't bin it either. I'll see if there's any banter going off. No, nothing's really going off, which is quite surprising. Usually is an argument of something. But this race has kind of fizzled out. Nolan's fight for the field again will be interesting because he's not giving up yet, as he keeps on fighting. Keeps on plodding along, hoping to get a good result out of this salvage one anyway. Obviously now he's on fresh supers. Will he be able to make something happen? I'm pretty sure Blunt has to pit again, as he's doing a two-stop for some reason. Catching Nick Nike is probably the aim for him. I think that's about all he can do, P6, which isn't horrendous for him, to be honest. For what he's done, he pitted on lap 1, obviously span, and you know, he's had a pretty eventful race. And to come back to P6 wouldn't be that bad. Obviously we haven't got a full grid and a lot of them are retired, down to P13 at this point, and we are down to 9 drivers, I think. There's Little Paul still going, but just a long way off. Oh my lord, Slimbo's getting a bit messy, because he's actually lost half a front wing. That might have something to do with it, and it's allowing Nick Knight to close right up. And that's happened fairly recently as well. That's not just something that's just been there the whole race, because Nick Knight wasn't that close, but the half front wing will damage Slimbo. And it'd be interesting to see if he wants to just pit and get rid of it, and he does actually. Does he? He does. And that'll put him around Nolan as well. Actually no, further back from Nolan. So that's Nick Knight up into P5, Blunt up to P6, Nolan to P7. And that was quite unexpected. Slimbo was having a great race, but it's kind of ruined it there. He wasn't optimistic before. He showed some half decent pace to get where he was. I think he was best of the rest at some points of this race. He just were vanquishes basically if he'd have kept it clean. But Milix is definitely catching Vanquish, it has to be said. It's about 1.5 seconds, so that bottom step of the podium is not out of the question. And we'll probably have a battle later on in this race, so do stay tuned. Hopefully somewhat enjoying the race. It's kind of died out, fizzled out, but here goes Nolan on Blunt. Blunt kind of lets that one go. It's not really his fight, he probably has to pit again with 8-9 laps to go. But yeah, as you can see, that's sort of expected. Can Milix do better on his Warner tyres though? He's got 7-8 laps, no, 8-9 laps I suppose. It depends who pulls the finger out really. There's a lot of wheel spin on my screen. I doubt that's coming from theirs. Oh my lord. Did Lambo just hit the wall? I jumped on him and clump. So I think he might have. We'll have a look if he's got any damage. It looks like he's got away with it. We definitely clunked it. But he's 12 seconds clear of Vanquish at this point. There's an incident sector 2, it's Nick Knight. In the castle section, he's claimed him. And, yeah. That's another driver gone, and that leaves us with 8 on the grid. Still going. Yeah, he just hit the wall. It stuck his wheel, just clipped it off. And that's pretty heartbreaking with not that long to go now. But Millic's still closing on Vanquish. You can see him. It's just about, can he do it? That's probably going to be the answer to this. As a Blunt looks like he's going to slip behind Slimbo. As they're pretty much fight. Oh, Blunt's hit the wall. Slimbo's hit the wall. They're fighting basically for the wooden spoon because Little Paul's not going to catch him, I don't think. But Slimbo and Blunt are both on fresh tyres, so it should be a fair fight pretty much. Maybe they did come out pretty close to each other, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, just got to keep an eye on these front guys. Lambo's been falling back from Blizzard all the time, and Vanquish isn't catching Lambo either. So it'll be a great result for Lambo's. Nolan's out, and they're dropping like flies now. And Nolan said beforehand he had no practice, and that might come into it. But the more the race went on, I'd expect him to kind of get into some sort of rhythm. But we're ending in the less. Oh, it's a castle section on the following lap. Let's claim Nolan. Maybe we're just pushing it a little bit too much. It looked like he's done a Kubica. There's been a few. Survival of the fittest. The race of nutrition. And it's claimed currently 6 drivers of the 13 we have here today. So we have 7 left. And Blunt and Slimbo are one of them, 2 of them drivers. As it looks like they're the only battle on track at the minute. Going into turn 1, Blunt's got the DRS, and it looks like he's got the position. So penalties will come apart in the Vanquish battle, and Vanquish has only got 1 warning, whereas Millic's has got 2 penalties. So that kind of takes that battle out of you know, consideration really, unless Vanquish bins it. And also Slimbo and Blunt, that would be interesting to see what theirs is like. There's Blunt runs wide there a little bit. Blunt has picked up 1 warning, Slimbo has picked up none at all. That is fairly impressive. So this is genuinely for position. So this is probably as exciting as it's going to get for the rest of this race. And it's probably the polar opposite of what China was, and that was non-stop. But with 5 laps to go. Oh, Blizzard's pit. That isn't something I expect. Maybe he's done. Has he done that on purpose? Couldn't he genuinely do that strategy? I think he was just messing about to make this race a bit more interesting. I wouldn't be doing that. And Millic's is catching Vanquish, but we all know the penalty situation. The Lambo leads, for what it's worth. There's a little pause in the pit. Show setting. What setting would you like me to show you? Exactly. I mean, tyres, stops, there's plenty of two stops like that. Milik's, Vanquish and Lambo are the only people that actually one stopped. Position changes. Yeah. Easy, hard. I'm a bit confused what you're trying to ask me to. I'm pretty sure you're on about the AI difficulty, but there isn't any. So I don't think that makes a difference. And if you're on about the assist settings, there's only racing line. There's Blizzard's co-op to Lambo, but I'm pretty sure Blizzard's just messing about here at this point. I mean, I could be wrong, it could have been totally unscheduled. But he was in the lead by a mile. And Slimbo and Blunt for position are still at it, still nudging each other around. And Blizzard's going to retake his lead now for the last 4 laps of this race. Maybe he's just going for fastest lap. And because that's obviously an extra point. I don't know on board with Francis for. We're getting a few battles on track. Really, Milik's still closing in on Vanquish, not enough to make it a battle for the position legitimately. But Vanquish won't know that obviously. Slimbo hits the wall, Blunt hits the wall, and these two will be at it until the lights, well, till the checkered flag. Because they're so similar pace, just slipstream pulls them together. As Slimbo gets position this time, and now Blunt will be looking for the position again. As he looks around the outside. And this is obviously for P5, which could mean a lot between the LR boys and the SLR team for constructors' position. Obviously VSR running away with it, but P2 or 3, 2 probably at this point with Marquez and Nolan not really showing a lot so far this season. This could mean a bit. Slimbo has to really slow down the cross because it looks like he's going to hit the wall every time he goes in it. Maybe it's just a bit of lag, I don't know. Because Milik's actually caught up to Vanquish. So we have another battle, but not for position. I think Vanquish has still not picked up a penalty. No, he hasn't. He's got one warning, whereas Milik's has got 2 penalties at this point. It's quite impressive that Slimbo's not even picked up a warning yet. But this battle's been coming for a while. He's closed down about 4 seconds in the last 10 laps. He'd probably have to make the move and then just bolt it, but he hasn't got the tyres really on them softs. Just to comment on the comments earlier on about the predictions, Slimbo to ruin the VSR party, things like this. I think VSR kind of ruined the VSR party in this point. Obviously vanquished P3, but Nolan and Marquez didn't help themselves at all. But 1-2 is still not. It's not bad, is it? If I was owning that team, that won't be bad. Must be that way. There goes Millix. It looks like he's gonna just fly past Vanquish, and that'll be him into P4. In P3, should I say, for the podium. But obviously Vanquish doesn't know that Millix has 2 penalties, so he's going to keep on fighting, I'm pretty sure, but maybe not. Maybe he's going for the DRS. But it looks like he's not going to manage it, but maybe Vanquish might push a bit too much. We don't know. Might get a penalty. If he gets 1 penalty, then it puts it up a bit in hand, a bit in the air a little bit then, because 3 seconds is probably doable. So at this point, Vanquish just keep it nice and clean, and that's the position. I don't know if he's listening to the stream and knows what's going off, because that could play a big part. I know if I were racing out, listening to the stream. Is there a warning from Slimbo? That was pretty wide. No? Maybe I should try that more often. Yeah, I just need to keep an eye on this situation. But Vanquish has pretty much got it in the bag if he's just careful with it. Is he going to get DRS though? I don't think he is. No, he isn't. So he's fell out of DRS range, but with 1 lap to go, he should have it. Despite Millix being there. And it looks like Blunt might be able to be getting Slimbo with the battle of the no penalties, let's say, as we are now on the final lap. Of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and it's had its moments, don't get me wrong, it's had its moments, but it's kind of tailed off, especially the amount of retirements. It's kind of just, yeah, not quite being what it could have been. But one man who's pretty much not put a foot wrong, he's even done an extra pit stop for the sake of it, is VSR Blizzard. He's done a fantastic race, and he's going to come around the final corner, he's going to come across the line, and he's going to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for VSR. And he can't disagree that he's probably the best driver on the grid. Got quite unlucky last week with a couple of incidents. Lambo, best result of the season. Well done to him, thoroughly deserved this one, kept himself out of trouble, did the optimal strategy. Millix is going to come originally home in P3, but Vanquish will get it on penalties by quite a margin because he didn't get one. Blunt, in the end, oh, this could be a lot closer than we think, but it looks like Blunt's going to come on P5, but it's going to be very, very close across the line. If we're looking at Slimbo opening DRS now, I think he's going to get it within a couple of tenths, but Blunt's going to get P5 just about, yeah, 2 tenths in the end, like I say. Very, very close in the end, but it's a 4 and 5 for SLR, the B team, as Slimbo P6 for LR, what could have been, he could have been the person on the podium with his teammate, should have been there, just didn't quite have the consistency. Unfortunate for him. Little Paul, looks like he's going to claim P7. And obviously Francis won't get the points for P8 for disconnecting. But low Paul, 52 seconds off the next car only, but at least he's crossing the line. Fair play to him, as he's had a pretty difficult race, crashing into his teammate. But he comes across the line now, and he's going to claim P7, and the final point finishes. As we've had Nolan DNF, Marquez DNF, Leon DNF, Nick Knight DNF. I'm sure I've missed somebody. Bob King DNF'd. But yeah, it was no, it was okay. It'd be nice to have more cars on the grid, and hopefully next in a couple of weeks' time we can have that. Yeah, Blizzard's your winner for this week, guys. For VSR 1-2 this time for the Toro Rossos. With Lambo's first podium of the season. Vanquish claiming his first podium on his second appearance as well. Milik's putting a pretty impressive result in yet again, going P8 to P4. Blunt P5, Slimbo P6, Lowpole P7, and then the rest are pretty invalid. So yeah, guys, I hope you all enjoy the race, and yeah, I'm hoping to see you guys next time. This could be my last race due to work, but fingers crossed I'll see you all guys again. And I'm the Neo57, and I'm out of here. Goodbye.